everyone. Welcome back to Talk Wordy, my hub for all of the words that I read, write, and otherwise want to yap about. Today is a very special day because we are finally in the life of a showgirl era, and the album has come out, and it's time to debrief a little bit, okay? It hasn't been that long. It's been out for the last, I think, 2.5 or 3 days, and I am so excited to unpack this now. Because I am alone and this is going to be one-sided, I am not taking any criticism, okay? I have seen a lot of buzz on the internet that this is one of her worst albums, but guess what? You guys were saying the same thing about Tortured Poets and Midnights and Evermore and Folklore, so you know what? Can it? We are going to have an X number of uninterrupted minutes where I just yap my trap about this album, and hopefully my thoughts are a breath of fresh air from the gross trash that is Threads and Twitter right now. Okay, so let's get into it. Before we fully get into the album, because I'm going to go track by track, I want to give you guys some of my broader thoughts and conclusions. And I have a whole note stock with me, so I'm going to stay on my game. I'm going to hopefully not have as many tangents because I want to hit all of these points. I think they are very important. So first up, I've heard a couple reviews that were not positive, specifically one where they were saying Taylor's not hungry anymore. She made this album and she was not hungry for any kind of commercial accomplishment because she is already getting these massive accolades in the magazines, at the Grammys, at all these award shows, wherever, okay? I understand that perspective, but I would argue that it's not that she's hungry, obviously. She's satiated, okay? She's writing from a place of contentment and not catharsis. And I think that that definitely plays a role in what kind of music she's putting out at different times in her life. Okay, I mean, think about the difference between Red and Lover. Okay, two vastly different common themes. Same woman. And also, don't even get me started on people who are complaining about how, quote, this is not the same woman who wrote Folklore. This is not the same woman who wrote Tortured Poets. Okay? Need I remind you that that woman wanted to die? And I don't even mean that metaphorically. I need y'all to quit with this. This isn't the same woman who wrote this crap because, number one, it is. And eventually you're going to come back around to this album when she releases, ultimately releases album number 13. You think she's stopping at 12? You guys are out of your mind. Stop glorifying art that she made at a time in her life where she literally was so miserable. She said when she was very young, she was doing interviews about how she worried that she wouldn't be able to make good art unless she was suffering. Do you know how sad that is? And y'all are playing into that. And it's embarrassing. Bring back feeling shame for that because that's ridiculous. Because the joy in this album is palpable. And I really am getting sick and tired of everyone who's diminishing her writing simply because it's coming from a place of something other than heartbreak. Do you guys not like to have fun? Do you guys not like to be happy? Like, I understand that a lot of this album is department store music. Do you not catch a vibe in the department stores when you hear fun tracks? I do. And I don't care. Y'all take things too seriously. I'm just here to have fun. Also, Taylor Swift, I know she's a lyricist and an English professor. She literally has an honorary doctorate. But you guys, she's also our corny queen. I understand that these lyrics aren't as spellbinding as some of the stuff that she put into Tortured Poets or wherever else. But you guys, it's okay to be funny. It's okay to have a laugh. It's okay that she had a laugh too. She probably had the time of her life making this album. Now, with that said, I'm not over here trying to be like, oh, I stan this album. This album's better than anything she's ever put out. No, I don't believe that. Okay. Listen, I have some personal favorites, obviously Speak Now being one of them. I have plenty of other favorites besides The Life of a Showgirl. Also, this album has only been out, like I said, for about 2.5 days, 3 days. We need to let it age. Okay. Especially with all of the claims that this album is so problematic. Okay. Let a girl live. Let a girl be petty. Also, if I was Taylor Swift, the list of things I could be petty over are miles longer than the list that I, as a regular person with, no famous background, has a list of. Okay. She's probably being a lot more mature than she could be. There are a few songs that sound a little too similar to other songs, mainly by the Jonas Brothers, okay? And I can't really ignore that because of her ties to Joe Jonas and all that. But also she's written nearly 300 songs in her discography alone. This doesn't count for, ghostwriting, co-writing, songs outside of her discography. Like, that's just her collection. So look me in the eyes and tell me that if you took a stab at her job, you wouldn't start repeating song refrains and sonic similarities. Tell me you wouldn't. Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, now my one hot take, like my actual, I might get into it a little bit. That take is I'm getting really sick and tired of the money grabbing, okay? She is a billionaire. The microtransactions that are happening are actually boiling my blood. Feeling like I have to do something or have to go see something or buy something, to do all of that, feeling like I have to in order to fully grasp something such as an album, pack it up. I am so over it. In this economy, you want me to buy every single album variation ever with the same 12 songs? First of all, I don't own a record player, okay? Sue me. I don't own a record player. I think they're really cool, but vinyls are like $40 a pop. And you want me to order the 8,000 different vinyl variants with different poetry and different pictures and just all this crap? Are we so serious right now? And then there are not just the vinyls, there are the CDs that come with pictures, the CDs that come with bracelets and charms and all these collectibles. And here's another cardigan. And God, there's just so much stuff. There's so much stuff and like zero substance in the stuff. Okay. The first time that I really was like, I can't handle this anymore was the Eras Tour book. Okay. This might be sacrilegious to the Swiftie fandom. I don't care. I went Black Friday. I went early. I don't like getting up early, you guys. I got up for Black Friday at like 5 in the freaking morning and I got this Eras Tour book, and nearly every picture that I saw in that book had been posted on Instagram. And so I returned the Eras Tour book. I'm not going to keep that. Also, I definitely marked it on my Goodreads. I definitely put it on my Goodreads. I'm so sick of it. Also, the fact that I had to go see a film. Listen, I loved the film, all right? I really love, as a writer, I love learning about the context behind somebody's inspiration to make art. But the fact that her music video was gatekept in a film that I had to pay $12 and some change for to go see, that's going to be put on YouTube in a couple days? Stop. Like, that's so dumb and so insulting to fans. Like, Taylor Swift should be, like, her art, okay? Maybe not Taylor Swift herself, but her music should be accessible to everyone. And more, it's being gatekept and it's becoming elitist and it's gross and I hate it. Okay, but with that said, my hater time is over. Let's get into the album track by track. So, first up, track 1, The Fate of Ophelia. As a music dork, I really loved how the opening track started the album in a minor key. It made me approach the album differently. Because when I've seen all the promotions for The Life of a Showgirl, I'm thinking it's bright, it's punchy, it's a glitter gel pen album. I'm so excited. Like, this is going to be hype. Because when you think about how 1989 the album started, or even Lover, it was so bright, it was so fun. And then The Fate of Ophelia comes on, and it's like kind of gloomy. I genuinely feel like this track was the perfect connector between the literary analysis and hidden gem allegories of the Tortured Poets Department to the shameless, carefree confessions of the life of a showgirl. I think it really bridges the two albums together. Genuinely, I feel like this was the most original song on her album, with the different syncopation patterns and the rhythmic phrasing. There's a reason why this is, I guess, I don't know if you would still classify this as a single because she didn't release any singles before the album came out, but I think this is the strongest song, and it gives the album a really good start. I love this song because it's addressing how the prophecy has changed, along with So Long London. The Two Graves, One Gun line compared to her saying, like, you pulled me out of my grave and saved me from the fate of Ophelia. I love the ties back, especially because I have a theory that the Tortured Poets Department was never supposed to exist, okay? It was supposed to be Midnight's, and then it was supposed to be The Life of a Showgirl. The Tortured Poets Department was not on purpose. It was a purge. Just putting out there. Also, The Fate of Ophelia feels like this could be a really kick-ass mashup with The Great War from Midnight's, and I expect all of you TikTok editors to get on that stat. This is her best music video in at least several years, okay? I have a preference and a deep, deep love for the Wildest Dreams music video, but this scratched that same itch. It could be one of her best of all time, truly. Okay, track 2, Elizabeth Taylor. For me, track 1s give you a taste of the album, but track 2s really help rev us into action. Like, track 1s are turning on the car and getting on the main road, and then track 2s are like you speeding up to get on the ramp to take you to the highway. That's how I like to see track 1s versus track 2s. It really helps the story like take off. And I like that she still got to maintain the characterization she loves so much, and talking about her life perspective from the standpoint of a woman that was so misunderstood and spoken for in history and pop culture. Also, I've heard that there are fans that have had to Google Elizabeth Taylor. You don't know who Elizabeth Taylor is? That's kind of shocking to me. But I really loved this as a track too, because the production went so hard. I got Reputation flashbacks. I love going back to Reputation, you guys. It's a standout because there's like two halves of it. If you're angry, Reputation is perfect. And if you're in love, Reputation is perfect. And I like that Elizabeth Taylor was like a perfect blend of being in love, but also being concerned that she's getting duped, and then add a tinge of bitterness. This is actually like in my top 5 right now, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this song. Also, I have a theory. So the line where she's like, I cry my eyes violet, I really love that line. First of all, because it's just such a mesmerizing lyric to me. And then also, Elizabeth Taylor's eyes are kind of violet. But the real reason I really like the lyric is because instantly I thought about Midnight's, and I thought about the Anti-Hero music video, and there's a shot where she's cutting eggs on a plate and she's cutting right in the yolk. And when she does that, it's like right in the eye, because it's like 2 eggs making a smiley face. You'll know the shot if you know it, but she cuts in it, and instead of a yolk bleeding out, it's like this purple galaxy goo. And I'm just like, it's crying its eyes violet. Oh, I can't tell if she had that picked out or like if she matched it together, but that was insane to me. Again, further proof that The Tortured Poets was not planned. Okay, next up, Opalite. The more I listen to it, the more I feel like I'm in an Old Navy or a Target. But honestly, considering the commercial success of Lover, that's not entirely a bad thing. Okay? I feel like this album is just easier to digest and just so lighthearted. For all of my readers, who else thought about fourth wing during this song. Onyx Knights and Lightning Strikes. I just know Rebecca Yarros is losing her mind because she makes playlists for her fourth wing books. She probably does it for all of her other books too, but I'm kind of a noob when it comes to her books. Before Onyx Storm, she was like, okay, here's the playlist. And there were so many freaking Taylor Swift songs, and good on her because Taylor Swift is fabulous. But she's so public about how much she loves Taylor Swift and like which Taylor Swift songs represent Xaden and Violet in each of her books. And so I just know that she was like positively crashing out when she heard Opalite. My favorite lyric from this song is my brother used to call it eating out of the trash. That is so funny. Austin Swift cooked when he came up with that. Because what do you mean? You're like, I think about them. Or like, I want to go back and bring them back into my life. And her brother's just casually like, quit eating out of the trash. I just think it's incredible. Just so younger brother coded. That's something I could hear my brother saying to me. But also I love the lyric, it's just a storm inside a teacup. Oh my gosh, the perspective that line gives, but also the like musical way that she phrases it, the like her range, the way her voice rises and it kind of scratches on the higher register. Ooh, I love it. This song made me realize that somewhere in the space-time continuum, Opalite Taylor is giving Foolish One Taylor a really big healing hug, and it just makes me so happy. I just had to say that. Okay, track 4, Father Figure. I think a lot of us were secretly hoping that she was going to sample part of the song by George Michael, obviously, because when they found out that George Michael has songwriting credits, they were like, oh shoot, we're going to get a sample. And it's all over TikTok right now. The I will be your father figure, put your tiny hand in my. Oh my gosh, that song is gas. If you've never heard that song, I need you to go listen to it right now. Anyways, so we thought it was going to be a sample. Turns out it was an interpolation because he's in the song, he says, I will be your father figure. But Taylor says, I'll be your father figure. Like she turns it into a contraction. But when I saw the film, The Release Party, getting to hear her like take so much care into getting George Michael's family's estate's permission to use the line and do it, carefully. I just loved that. She's so courteous. Say what you want about her, but she actually is so intentional and caring and cautious about everything she does. Like if she's not going to get approval, she's not going to do it at all, period. I really like that she confesses how she's able to relate to both characters at different points in the song. I think that's so cool. And it really is a testament to like her growth as an artist, to where she started off as this like prey for this older man who was controlling her music career. And then she was able to like take back her authority and shove him out. Because assuming this is about Scott Borchetta, okay? And if I'm saying his name wrong, I don't care. I don't need to learn how to say his name correctly because trash takes itself out every time. That is a quote from Dr. Taylor Swift. Okay. Also, the line, I protect the family, it's giving mobster vibes in the best way. But also, I saw an artwork. You guys, I wish I knew the artist off the top of my head, but I saw an artwork of all of the Taylor albums as like cartoon versions of Taylor Swift in like all the different outfits and the colors. And they were all in a big giant group hug. And The Life of a Showgirl was like the one wrapping her arms completely around all 11 of the others. And she was like, I protect the family. Like the albums being the family. Oh my God. It was so cute. It was so cute. I literally got emotional looking at it. And then the bridge of the song is giving her such siren vibes. It's super hypnotic, spell casting, almost like she's singing it on a disappointed sigh, especially when it's like they don't make loyalty like they used to. And it almost sounds like she's puffing out air, as if like this man in charge is like puffing out cigar smoke. At least that's how I'm interpreting it. Oh my gosh. The song at first was on my lower tier. Now it's at least middle, maybe middle high. I love that song. Okay, track 5, Eldest Daughter. This is a big one because I think this is the song that has the most polarizing feedback. I saw a quote online. I don't remember where, so I'm sorry if I'm plagiarizing anyone, but it's not my original quote, okay? Somebody said when the prophecy changed, so the song, the prophecy about how she just wants someone that wants her and her company. She doesn't care about the money. She wants to be loved. When that prophecy changed for her, the impact of the track 5s did too. Because historically it is known that when Taylor Swift puts a track in track 5, it's the most emotionally vulnerable. But oftentimes that translates into the saddest tracks imaginable. However, instead of soul crushing, this track 5 is soul mending. The track 5s now become about the impact of love rather than the death of it. And I swear to you, I was like, drop the mic, sis. Drop it. That right there, cinema. And I hope you know, to all of my eldest daughter haters, okay, there is a 4-minute long video in my TikTok drafts of me full blown sobbing over this song. Okay. This is the one part about going to see the release party film that like really upset me. And I told my husband about this because my husband went with me to go see the film. It actually kind of upset me hearing her explain in such detail about like her inspiration for the song Eldest Daughter, because it did not match how I interpreted the song. Art is subjective. Anybody can have their own opinions, but oftentimes when I hear the artist's like concrete intentions behind a song or a piece, it completely wipes away whatever lens I had before. And Eldest Daughter was immediately my favorite song on the album because when I heard it, all I could think about was my little brother. Because oftentimes as eldest daughters, your identity shifts at a very young age from you as an individual to you as a partial caretaker to your younger siblings. And hearing the way that Taylor was talking about like dying to be cool and have this youthful life, and she hasn't laughed in a long time since she was a child, I just kept relating that back to, oh my gosh, like I remember all those days like when my parents were having a tough time with each other and like nobody was thinking about my brother. And so I had to think about him. I had to kind of be that step-in parent, and I had to make sure that he emotionally was doing okay, that he wasn't feeling alone, that, you know, he wasn't seeing the bad stuff that I was seeing behind the curtain. I was trying to distract him. And so that kind of took away, not all, obviously, I had a great childhood, but it took some of the joy that I could have had in my childhood away because I wanted to make sure that I could, if I couldn't preserve it for myself, I could give it to my little brother. And then obviously while doing that, I was partially looking like my brother's mom. I was a mom to him in a way. And so, you know, boys don't think that their moms are cool after a certain age. And so I'm thinking, oh my gosh, like I love my brother so much and he probably thinks I'm a loser. He probably thinks I am the biggest, not like do nothing loser, but just like nerd geek loser. Like I thought my brother was way too cool for me. And I don't know, it was just this whole journey. And then when I heard the lyric, every youngest child felt like they were raised in the wild or something along those lines. I can't remember off the top of my head. I should have written it down. But that lyric about youngest children feeling like they were raised in the wild and now you're home. I understand that maybe on some level Taylor was saying, okay, let me include the youngest children and being like, they thought they were wild, but now they're settled. I took it as the youngest child was so alone and out in the wilderness, and then the eldest daughter came home. And that line is what absolutely broke me down. I was sobbing because, God, the amount of weeks, months that I spent feeling so guilty that I wasn't home to be there for my brother, because now, like, it wasn't a household of 4, it was a household of 3. After the separation, it was a household of 2. Like, it was a whole thing. And I kind of wish that I hadn't seen that part of the release party film so that I could still keep that context. It's starting to kind of wither. I just remember listening to that song on loop and just like having this big old cry. And I texted my brother and was like, I could barely see the keyboard through my tears, and I was texting my fat thumbs. I probably misspelled like 8 different things, but I was just like, dude, I'm listening to this song and I literally cannot express how much I love you. It just reminded me, like, you are the world to me. My eyes are literally burning right now, so I'm going to move on to track 6. But all that to say, I love my little brother. Art is art. Take it as you will. Try and ignore artist context if it helps you enjoy the art piece more. And also stop treating the song Eldest Daughter like some of y'all are treating eldest daughters, like in real life. You are losing sight of the plot. Okay. Ruin the Friendship, track 6. I love when Taylor taps back into her high school vibe because I think universally it's one of those life stages that's just the easiest to look back on. Even if it was tumultuous and hard and you've got some bad memories associated with it, there's something about exiting childhood and yet being on the precipice of adulthood that creates so much emotion and content for artists. The plot twist in the bridge, you guys, I was not ready. I take it that this song is about Jeff Lang and, other people in her life, whatever, quote unquote, that she said in the release party film. But it was not funny, but it was also kind of funny when I first heard the song because Taylor mentioned Abigail and I was like, oh, Abigail mentioned in 2025. And then the next line, it said goodbye, like after bad news. And I was like, huh? What? And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's about somebody who passed. I really love the outro though, where she's almost like howling the lyrics, and she's soliciting her advice to us because it's literally me when I'm reading a romance book and the characters are being stubborn and not communicating. I'm just like, my advice is to always ruin the friendship rather that than like regret it for all time. I'm like, you guys, just talk. Miscommunication tropes, count your days. Okay, actually romantic. The Taylor-Charlie beef aside, though the song is currently lower on my personal ranking, Tay cooked with this song. There really is no male love quite like feminine hate. No man loves you quite like that one woman who hates your guts. I'm genuinely convinced that on some level, we each exist to spite someone. Theories about this being about Charlie XCX, honestly, it checks out. And frankly, I don't think Taylor's nasty for it, okay? How would you feel if one of your past tour openers started to publicly and privately talk trash about you and amount you to this big negative force in your life, and then also talk smack about you to your ex? Really? You think Taylor was just gonna like keep her mouth shut when she is known to write scathing songs and now you're mad because it's coming after a girl? Please. Low-key, it gives me the vibes of a soft rock take on Gives You Hell by the All American Rejects. You can thank me later for that. Moving on, track 8, Wish List. Okay, welcome back, Glitch. I'm happy to see you. This is definitely Glitch's twin sister, okay? And also, for all of you Glitch haters, do not even start to tell me that you liked this song, okay? If you like this song but you don't like Glitch or vice versa, you're wrong. You're incorrect. The dollar signs in the title threw me off so bad though. On some level, I thought this was gonna be like an OG Kesha party anthem, but it was not. People who are saying that the trad wife life stole Taylor away, need I remind you how girl boss running on fumes she's been living in the last 2 decades? Has Taylor not earned her rest? And does she not deserve to long for a family of her own? Y'all just love to be hateful, and it's genuinely embarrassing. If you want to comment on the actual production of the song, whatever. But everybody getting riled up because this woman is almost 36 and she wants kids? Shut up. I'm so over it. I love, however, the syncopation and the staccato of the bridge's rhythm. The da 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 da. I'm not even gonna try and botch the lyrics. She does a lot of syncopation in this album, and I groove with it. My favorite lyric of this song, which funny enough is actually getting like mixed reviews. I love "Got Me Dreaming of a Driveway with a Basketball Hoop." Something about the really mundane, ordinary imagery, but like that's like her biggest wish list item and that's what she's dreaming about. That is so precious. It genuinely makes me want to throw up a little bit and like cry hard enough and like hold my knees and rock back and forth. Yeah, I really love that lyric. Okay, track 9, Wood. The film screening, when she only mentions the superstitions and then was like, and other things like that, and the screen faded out, had me dying. Doing some samba bounces to this song would eat down. This girl is getting laid and she is making it our business. She's making it our problem and she is demanding we celebrate the fact. And honestly, after dating such scrawny British losers, I'm saying that with my chest. Good for her. Good for her. I will say the clean version of this song is just a little bizarre to me. The amount of time that I also spent trying to figure out who Daisy was and why she's bare naked and who Penny is and why is she unlucky, just to realize that they were superstition objects. I am so dumb. Like, Daisy's bare naked, that's when you pick the petals off the flower for the "he loves me not" that she repeats like twice. And then Penny, it's a lucky Penny. I think because those names were capitalized, I thought they were women. I need to take an honors English class again. It's been too long. I was humbled. I have been hearing that a lot of people think this song sounds like Jackson 5, like "I Want You Back." But I argue that it kind of sounds a little bit like "Change of Heart" by the 1975. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. Okay, next up, I'm going to make this one quick. It's track 10. It's canceled here. I'm throwing myself out there and confessing that this song is by miles my least favorite of the album, which is funny because I feel like it's either on people's dead bottom or it's on their like tippity top. And just because I don't like the song doesn't mean that I can't give it credit where it's due, okay? Taylor shuts us all up with this song. She's still friends with Blake Lively, even with the lawsuit, but she was also like, girl, don't get caught doing stupid stuff, or at least don't drag me into it. I've also heard that there are theories that this is about Sophie Turner, since the matching scars are references to Joe Jonas, because they were both in a relationship with him. But like I said, yeah, definitely my least favorite. I didn't resonate personally, but I understand the context for Taylor. For anybody that feels like they're in the line of fire with people, I bet this song is going triple platinum in their cars. Also, this song reminds me of "I Did Something Bad," which I really love, but it just didn't click with me. But good for y'all who enjoy it. It's just, I don't think I was the target audience of that song, and that's okay. Track 11, "Honey." I early predicted that this was going to be one of my favorites, and I was spot on because me and my husband call each other honey more than we use our government names. So it was fitting. I always keep a careful eye. So we're going back to how I was telling you guys earlier, track 1s and track 2s, I kind of keep an eye out for to see if they're like a really good starting point and then that good produced on-ramp for the rest of the album. When it comes to penultimate tracks, so second to last tracks, I always kind of sit back and observe because typically the softer songs in Taylor's discography fall into this track slot. Sweet Nothing, It's Nice to Have a Friend, Peace, Closure, Last Kiss. And speaking of penultimate tracks, man, did this song give major nods to Call It What You Want. I love at the end when the music drops out and she just does this sort of spoken word thing where she's like, "But you can call me honey if you want." Because her 6-year-long relationship before Travis was like practically founded on blurred lines and what are we and what do we call this? And then eventually she's like, "Call it what you want, whatever, if it makes you feel better." And I'm just like, she's finally able to say, "You can call me honey here's what to call it. Here's what to call me. You can call me if you want, but he's going to. She's like, you can call me that if you want. Of course he's going to do it. You know, of course he's going to call her that. And simultaneously, he's going to redeem all these like pet name, sweet, affectionate phrases and nicknames that have been weaponized against her for so long. Oh, it's so sweet. And it's catchy. Nobody's talking about this song enough. And I can't wait for people to wake up and realize that it's a banger. Last but certainly not least, The Life of a Showgirl featuring Sabrina Carpenter. Their voices meshed so well. I remember watching her when she came out for the acoustic set as a surprise to the audience. And I just love how they sounded together. Do I think they sounded as good together as Gracie Abrams and Taylor Swift? To be determined. Also, speaking of that performance where Sabrina came out, I love that performance, because Taylor was wearing orange, that was like the biggest Easter egg. Because I think it was during the international tour, and Taylor had even said in the film, she was like, yeah, on her days off in Sweden, she was recording the song. Talk about the life of a showgirl, okay? Kitty Finlay being the fake character, and Finlay being Marjorie's last name. Also, if you don't know who Marjorie is, first of all, educate yourself. Go listen to Marjorie on the Evermore album. That is Taylor's grandmother, okay? Taylor's grandmother, who was an opera singer, because the song is about Taylor's character waiting outside the door to get an autograph from this amazing showgirl. And the showgirl is like honest with her and says, hey, you don't want to do this. Like, this is not it. You're a sweet girl. I don't think you're cut out for this. Do anything else. That's probably like a direct quotation from the Release Party film. So pardon me. The character being Kitty Finlay. Kitty, I don't know where Kitty originates from, but Finlay, like essentially her saying that she was going to this showgirl, that she like relates to her showgirl grandma. Oh, I love that. I was like crying. Okay, but I will say something I didn't like about this song was the way that people get annoyed with the rhyme from Betty, where it's like cardigan and car again. Rhyming kitty with pretty and witty, it rubbed me the wrong way. It felt cringe. I'm sorry. But I loved compliment sandwich. Nice, mean, nice. I loved the audio from the Live Eras show being the outro of the closing track. I thought it was really beautiful and really symbolic of the heart of the album. Obviously, she wrote the album while she was on the biggest tour on planet Earth of all time. And so I really loved that. However, dare I say that this was the only track to actually embody our preconception of the life of a showgirl, especially with all of the different scenery and imagery of different showgirls in the past. It just felt like the only song that really encaptured the vision that we thought we were going to get. I don't know. I think that it kind of makes me not enjoy that song as much as a result. I don't know if that makes any sense, but it definitely deserved to be the closing track. Also, this makes me wonder, because Miss Girl loves 13s and she did 12 and 12. Anything happening December 12th? What day is December 13th? Because that's her birthday. What day is December 12th? I'm pulling up my calendar, you guys. December 12th is a Friday. I literally got full body chills. Tell me she's not doing something on December 12th. 12th album and 12 tracks, and yet she loves the number 13. Get real. Something's happening December 12th. I'm calling it. Okay, guys, thank you so much. That was my recap of the Life of a Showgirl album. Again, I know everybody's got mixed feelings. I'm really trying hard to ignore the noise and just stay enjoying it, because I love shiny new things, and this is a shiny new album, okay? Emphasis on shiny. But I will say, after this album came out, I did go back and I was listening to Midnights and Tortured Poets, and I have like a deeper fondness and appreciation from them, as I do with most albums once they feel older in her discography. They take on this refined maturity that I really cherish. Especially my Speak Now girly, because she's older than the hills and she aged like wine. And I just really hope the life of a showgirl does not age like milk. Thank you guys so much for listening, and I will see you guys in the next one.